It's a Tuesday edition here on Zero Block 30, and today we have 5 rounds in the magazine. Round number 1, we'd be derelict in our duties if we didn't remind the folks that violating OPSEC procedures has its consequences. Some of those Parler users are figuring that out over the weekend and at airports and all over the place. Some of those videos that were coming out this weekend just made me big time laugh. I mean, for real, imagine being at the airport. You're coming back from DC. You check into your fucking Southwest flight, and they're like, "Hey, you're actually on a terroristic no-fly list." You'd be like, "What? What the heck?
What? Since when? What?
What the heck?
Me?
What's that?
No fly? What?
What?
I'm
What?
wearing
No
a "Don't tread
what
on
the
me"
heck?
hat. How could I be? What?
What
the
No,
heck?
no free
What?
peanuts? What?
Well,
I got a Blue Lives Matter mask.
don't tread on
Huh?
snake. What?
Oh, what?
I got
What the
1,000
heck?
Delta miles. What?
Okay. Round number 2. I don't know about y'all, but all this shitty news is a kick in the dick. Luckily, our friends at Military Times put out a list to help keep us motivated. We're going to work through that bad boy in round 2. Round number 3, President Trump is acting like the world's greatest Lance Corporal. Round number 4, in a sign that nature is healing, we return to a solely military story to talk about a general who is demoted after an affair with 3 subordinates. And
Spicy.
finally, round number 5, a couple fellas got caught grave goofing. Their explanation is just a little bit wild. They're just doing some skull and crossbones goofing down there in Florida, which honestly, when you're that close to where Ponce de Leon located the Fountain of Youth, anytime you're dealing with skull and crossbones, it's got a little pirate vibe. I think you're going to be cleared hot to do that.
I
Yeah,
think
you gotta dig around a little down there.
You'd be
definitely
un-American
gotta
not
dig
to.
around.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would love to do a little pirate goofing. But anyway, all that's going to be brought to you by our friends at Roman Swipes. They are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting, and don't require a prescription. Roman can send swipes straight to your door in a discreet, unmarked package, and each swipe is small enough to fit in that little wallet or wherever your pocketbook before you put it down just to dance. Ladies, you could bring a swipe with you as well. They're just as easy to use. Just take the swipe out of the packet, wipe it on the old member, and you're good to go. Go to getroman.com/0. You can get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/0. Let's start the show. Well, this weekend I enjoyed social media this weekend just because there were so many different types of videos that was coming out. It was one of those moments on social media where you could see the perspective of people just on the type of videos that they were sharing about everything that's going on. Like people who are, I guess, apologists would be like, look, they're not doing anything. They're just hanging out in the middle of these ropes. And then the people who are upset and that are pissed off, like most of us, they're sharing the videos from the airport, which are fantastic. Did you guys see those videos?
Yeah, people finding out that they're now on watch lists and they cannot get on their flight. So they go to the airport, they go to get on their flight, they're banned, and then they throw a huge tantrum. And also videos from the airplanes themselves of people causing a ruckus and the airline attendants being like, shut the fuck up and sit down. I'll have the pilot crash his plane into a fucking lake right now.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
It's basically like the angry mom and dad on the way to a national park in the summertime. And you just got to tell everybody, I'll turn this motherfucker around. There was one flight that was leaving from DC and the pilot saw everybody getting on and like all their regalia from the Stop the Steal rally that they were having. And the pilot just got up on the intercom and was like, look, y'all start causing a problem for my flight attendants, I'll land this motherfucker in Kansas City and all y'all get off.
I'll turn this plane
bus around and I'll end your precious little field trip.
Yeah.
No, you know what's so funny though? And it goes back to, what I was saying, how we're so conditioned to think one thing for the last 20 years. No one, I think, of these people would ever expect to go to the airport and be told, oh, you're on a no-fly list, sir. And they say, wait, no, that's for terrorists. And then the gate agent just kind of like smirks at him and,
the old shoe fits.
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is here. I don't know if you noticed I'm white.
I'm a white.
And?
I mean, that was the bizarre. I mean, they go from being in the Speaker of the House's office, like illegally, to just hanging out, like drinking beers and shit in the lobby. Like what a world to be able to do that. But they also have been getting kicked off. That was the big news. When did that happen? Friday when President Trump got kicked off of Twitter?
I think so. The last 72 to 96 hours have been a blur.
So he got kicked off of not only Twitter, but Spotify, Facebook, Instagram.
Oh, don't forget Pinterest. Yeah.
Shopify.
I'm kind of bummed. I was really looking.
Shopify is so fucked up. Like he can't even just be sitting on the White House toilet and like get him a nice T-shirt for the low.
He's got to type in all that info each and every time he wants to online shop. What a
So
pain.
there's been lots of talk about deplatforming and all that stuff this weekend, and a lot of people that recognize, I guess, what the president's cause and think that the election was somehow fraudulent. They've been going over to old Parler. Well, Parler is having some issues itself. It got deplatformed, got kicked out of Google, got kicked out of iTunes, and Amazon, who hosts the cloud services, says they aren't going to go. And a thread came out for round number one. A thread came out this weekend from a Reddit user who explains kind of what's going on a lot of these social media sites where they're very, like, you would think it's secure. Like, I think that we have, most Americans, not people that are wackos like Kyle, most people have this idea that I'm going to trust this private company to do with my information only the right things. Like, what I remember reading back when Facebook was having all of their issues about security and being like, Facebook would do this to me? Like, they would do this to me? They're not going to let me be out there? They're going to give my information away to other people? That can't be.
Zuckerberg would never.
But that's not what's happening on Parler, right, Kate?
I think it's kind of like how I blindly trust doctors because I need their services. Like I need my social media. And so I'm just like, okay, I trust you. All right.
Even though they might have graduated last at medical school.
Right.
That's
exactly.
fine.
From like somewhere in like, no offense to Terre Haute, but
I didn't expect
Terre Haute doctors, you know.
That felt like an unnecessary shot. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. So it's in the parking lot behind the Boscovs. But anyway, yeah. So I can't explain anything further because I don't understand computers. So maybe somebody, Kyle, what's going on with Parler? I don't know.
Oh, we have the thread right here. So it says a group of developers latched onto the press release that Twilio, is that who that is?
I don't even know who Mr. Twilio is.
Old Twilio put out midnight last night. And that press release, Twilio accidentally revealed which services Parler was using. Turns out it was all the security authentications were used to register a user. This allowed anyone to create a user and not have to verify an email address and immediately have a logged on account. Well, because of that access, it gave them access to behind the login box API. What's that, Kyle? Do we know?
That is an application program interface. It's how the website communicates with services it uses. So we're using one right now.
So that means that all content, they have I guess their text or tweets, whatever they would call those, the videos, the images, the user profiles, user information, but it was revealed which users had administration rights, moderation rights. And then, well, this is what happened. Those user accounts that had the administration rights to the entire platforms, the hackers, who are known as internet warriors, call it what you will, were able to use the forgotten password link to change the password. Why? Because Twilio was no longer authenticating emails.
Authenticating, maybe?
Shit on me for reading numbers again, chaps.
Y'all fucking do it. Y'all go down the rabbit hole. No, go ahead.
Okay. Why? Because Twilio is no longer authenticating emails. This meant they'd get directly to the reset password screen of that administration user. This group of internet warriors then used that account to create a handful of other administration accounts and then created a script that ended up creating millions of fake administration accounts. Now that they had a way of creating admin accounts without interruption, they created a Docker image called a warrior that anyone could download, and when fired up, would immediately start collecting data off of Parler in a coordinated fashion. This sounds dangerous. All of this data, the videos, the images, the posts, the metadata, including the geolocation of all images and videos and the connections to the accounts that posted it, have been, since midnight, being uploaded to various cloud drives and storage arrays for the purposes of archiving this information for later retrieval by law enforcement, by the public, by open source intelligence communities.
Now, I went through here because I was doing the research for this, and it is fascinating. Like in this Reddit thread, they put in all these different links of where you can go and see some of this information. Like if it's out on Reddit, you can see whatever you want. You can go and you can see everybody's user history, what exactly they've posted, their driver's license, the fronts and the backs, their addresses, their phones, where they work, all this crazy personal information. And they're using the profile pictures of people that use their face, matching it with an ID, and then doing a scan to see, like through reverse Google imaging or reverse imaging, to see who was at that inside the Capitol building. And that's how they're creating these no-fly lists. That's what this Reddit user is suggesting, which is crazy. Like that is definitely the type of thing that's Orwellian. Like when there's been so many references to 1984 over the weekend, that's Orwellian.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy when you think, you just assume, oh, something's in the app store. It must have been vetted by someone at the vetting place. So it's okay. And it's safe for me to use. Let me just download this guy and then I'll get going on my Parler and all will be well in the world. And never would you think that something like this of this nature is happening behind the scenes.
And
so
go ahead, Kate.
If I had to break this down, Barney stocks, I'll be honest, I'm not understanding a single word of this entire thing at all. But so basically, anybody can access anybody's Parler account and see, because they have to put the front and back of their license to register to become like an official verified citizen of Parler. So anybody can access anybody's account and see exactly what they've posted, the geotags, where they posted it from, and exactly who they are.
Because there's certain information, like on Twitter, like we have our actual names, or people can figure out what our name is by our Twitter account. There's a shit ton of accounts on Parler that are just like Patriot 5724, and where they're just posting stuff. And now you can go back in the back end and see who they actually were. So it's essentially Parler is doxing their entire user database.
So people who thought their shit was private are now finding out it's totally open source for anyone.
Oh yeah. And not just like a little bit, but every single thing about them is out. Like, which is insane.
Their real driver's license and all that shit. Okay. And so is it legal? Because now this is saying like the government is now also using this information and stockpiling it and going like thumbing through it to figure out maybe stuff from the Capitol, blah, blah. Is it legal for the government to use info that has been hacked? Like am I getting this right?
And that was kind of your question, right, Kyle? Like, is if they would be able to use this in like a court of law? Like, if they came up, yes, they would. Like, same thing, like the hacking and getting information and sourcing. Think about how all intelligence is gathered. Like, a lot of that isn't done legally. Like, whenever they go through, like the CIA in other countries, when they'll go and they'll gather data, that stuff's not done in legal channels. And a lot of intel, like you're getting it from sourcing, who should it maybe not tell you what's going on. They'll definitely be able to use this as like a reason why.
Kyle, you're the internet guy here. What do you think of this? And like, can you break it down for an idiot?
So it's illegal. What happened was illegal. I mean, you can't obtain information like this in the manner that they did. So that, word of caution there. What's probably the most damaging is when you post a picture to Twitter, it strips the metadata off of that picture. So I can save it and it won't say, because the metadata tells you what kind of camera took the picture, when it was taken, exactly where it was taken. So for security reasons, they strip all this information off.
And if I'm right, it's almost like whenever they do like on NCIS, where you'll see they'll get a round that was shot and they can match it through the barrel, like to make sure the striations of the barrel are the same. They could do that with pictures and like if you have it not stripped, you can get every single thing, like the IP address where it was loaded up and all that stuff.
And most importantly for the law enforcement efforts is they can see exactly where that picture was taken. So all the people posting pictures now from inside the Capitol building, just having
like
a picture,
because I can't imagine you only took one that day.
Right. Well, just having a picture from inside the Capitol building isn't necessarily against the law. And it doesn't put you inside the Capitol building usually, because you can say, oh, they took it from this account and posted it on their own. But if you have the metadata from your account with that picture, I mean, if you're not the
You're making
prime
it the
source,
forensic investigator's job a lot easier.
yeah, because maybe it got emailed to them and then they posted it, but then it's like a one jump to the next guy who actually took it. I think that's going to be the biggest deal out of this is all the pictures that all these people were bragging about putting up there.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking morons.
I don't know, Kate. Let's ask you. Let's say you are in a relationship with somebody, and over the last couple of months, they've gotten a little more wackadoo with their political ideas. And you find out that they're just going on a little golfing trip with their buddies, happens to be on the week of January 6th, nothing to be concerned about at all. Next thing you know, you get a call, it's a DC number, and it's like, hey, babe, I'm on a no-fly list. What do you think your reaction is going to be?
Have fun walking home, and this isn't home anymore, dumb bitch. I'd be really mad. It would be over for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Just for that, just for a little insurrection goofing, you'd end it?
I would end it in a heartbeat. Yeah, no, absolutely, it would be done.
That's okay. What happened to yours? Well, did he cheat? No. Did he steal money from you? No.
Yeah, no.
He decided to go to a crazy rally and be a wackadoo. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He did a little incident.
It's a little bit of a red flag for me for the future. So I think any lady could understand.
But I think there are some spouses that happened to them. There was another video that was hilarious where it was two ladies that came back to Florida and their husbands were picking them up from the airport. So it was the two ladies that went. And the cops, whenever they land, this flight lands, the cops are there to pick them up from the airport because they are getting charged. And they're like, we have kids here. We have kids here. And all these people that are there with them are freaking out because the kids aren't going to be able to go with the mom. And the cop just like kind of stops cuffing one of the ladies and stands up. And he's like, I know y'all are crazy, but do you really think this is the first time we've ever arrested somebody with kids? We know what we're doing.
Yeah. A lot of these people thought they were completely invincible and above the law, and they're finding out and they're incredulous that they're not. And that's been fun to watch. That's been a treat. But back to the hack or whatever, like I still don't, isn't part of it also Parler's fault for having such lax? Like, does some of it fall on Parler, Kyle?
Well, I mean, so if someone breaks into your apartment, is it your fault? Someone shouldn't have,
No.
You shouldn't have your apartment broken into, right? Like in security, there's only so much you can do. It's not a matter of if you're going to get hacked, it's when. And when you're a target rich environment like Parler became, it's only a matter of time before someone finds a way in and gets what they want.
You had to they had to have seen this coming, right? Like people are pretty mad at us right now. We might want to fix our security. I'm not blaming them, but it's
imagine those videos. The hackers people are legit terrifying too. Like remember when Anonymous was super huge on Twitter and they would like announce who they were going to go after next. Imagine watching that and be like, me?
There were people posting actual NSA hacking tools that were stolen from the NSA on Twitter in real time. And the NSA is like, well, fuck, what do we do? I mean, if you're hacking the NSA, that's unbelievable, but it's just really funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think are showing we are not prepared. Like we always talk about we're the most prepared country in the world for a bunch of different shit. The Secretary of the Army came out this week and were like, we were not prepared for what was going to go on. We didn't talk about it. We didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. We didn't have any type of contingency plan at all. And I'm like, how?
That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me.
Like, and just to openly admit it and be like, yeah, we didn't know this is going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't have a plan for if the Capitol is taken over.
Admitting it is nuts, but then too, I don't understand. Oh, hundreds of thousands of people are going to get together that it might get violent one way or another. You didn't think that was a possibility? Come on, that's ridiculous. And if you're admitting that, I don't know if I feel safe with you in that position.
Well, it came out this morning too. The head of the Capitol Police who resigned said that 6 times, both before and during the siege on the Capitol, they requested the help from the National Guard and were denied before and during.
I wonder if they'll eventually have to, I wonder if any laws will actually be changed now that this happened. Like if you'll go back and look at what happened and be like, maybe we should have the ability for other people to recall the National Guard and it just isn't going to be the president. And all that stuff that came out, I don't understand it at all. Like how Pence was involved and the Speaker of the House. There's so many things that they're going to have to look at, and it's all going to take, I would imagine, a shit ton of time, right? Like this isn't going to be something that's over fast.
No, this is going to be
definitely not for old Air Force veteran Larry Brock Jr., who was seen on this. We'll go through this guys quickly because I think a lot of people have seen it. This guy, Larry Brock Jr., is an Air Force veteran. He actually went to the Air Force Academy, was a very distinguished pilot of an A-10, and he was seen inside the Speaker of the House's office. He was on the floor of the Capitol building with flexi ties, and said he was on the phone with Ronan Farrow, who is like a world-renowned journalist. And he said that Farrow actually spoke with him, and he said that he didn't mean it. Like he kind of got carried away, and then he regretted picking up the flexi cuffs and being in there with people who were saying we need to hang the Speaker of the House. Like he regrets it. So.
I don't believe what any of these motherfuckers have to say. Their stories change. If you watch, so many of these people did interviews before they went in, and then their whole story changed in the interviews that they did after they were out. Oh, I didn't know, blah, blah. Beforehand, they knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel sympathy or empathy for any of them. But this, so many people once, it was like a photo of him wearing, Army Navy store Kevlar and the flak jacket, but he was doing the perfect knife hand on the Capitol floor, and people were like, he's definitely from the military. Who is he? And the internet started like a search to figure out who he was right away.
It's amazing how fast they figure that stuff out too.
Oh, Bellingcat right now is going ham on people's asses. They are doing more, I think, than the FBI is right now. It's insane, and it's watching it unfold. You can follow them on Twitter, Bellingcat. But
and really, this is the worst time to do that stuff, right? Because there's so many people who are working from home that want to be distracted from their job. All these folks on Reddit, they got nothing but time. They're not doing anything anyways. They got time. They got more games than Monopoly.
Honey, put on another pot of coffee. I got 10 pictures to identify still. It's going to be a long night.
You can tell from a lot of these photos, though, so many of these people felt so badass when they were in there that they felt like fucking warriors. And then now,
that guy that was in like the bear costume with the horns and shit, he felt like the biggest hardo in the world. And then it's revealed that he's a failed actor who's 33. It still lives at home with his mom, and it's like,
right?
Well,
is that right?
I
didn't see that. Oh man,
yeah, it takes away from the badassness.
Loser.
My other favorite guy was this Air Force guy had zip ties, but there was the main zip ties guy who had like 1,000 zip ties attached to his flak jacket. And he looked almost like a cop. Like in the heat of the moment, I would have thought he was maybe part of a SWAT team or something. Well, it turns out he had a woman beside him the whole time as he was going through. It was his mom. And he got identified because he had a mask on, but she did not. And people were like, oh, that's Kevin's mom. And she looks like a fucking mom-ass, like mom. Like
is that the old lady that was like 60 years old, just walking through, just hanging out?
No, this is a different lady, but she looks like she makes a mean casserole. She looks like she's like a stock-fed little casserole mama.
Mom, could you take me out to the Capitol? My friends are getting together to do like this thing, and I really want to go.
But in the photos, he's like leaping a railing, and then you see her like politely walking behind near him, like just going with him the whole time. So like you said, lots of great.
The other funny guy was the one that was from Idaho, the one that was actually hanging from the rafters in the Capitol building. And he came out and said that he just got swept up in the moment. Like that happens.
You do. I can see it. I can see
happens.
it.
It's if it's happened to one of us, it's happened to 1,000 of us. You just get swept up in the moment. I get it.
Yeah.
If I haven't been at the Eagles Super Bowl parade, I get it. But next thing you know, you're climbing a greasy pole. It's covered in grease.
Oh my God! There's so many of these people too. I was going to join the military, but I had to get a job instead. Like when shit hit the fan on 9/11, I was going to sign up, but I was busy.
Yeah. Hopefully this news about this stuff is going to be over soon, but we do have a reminder from our friends at Military Times. It's not all bad. You got to stay motivated. So they put out a list of 6 things that are going to help you get motivated. Kate, what's the first one?
Oh boy. The first one is list what you can and cannot control. And they say, like me, my burping right now. I can't control it. It's out of control. Seriously, make these lists, even if it feels foolish. Write down what you have the power to influence. And as a former Al-Anon lady, let me tell you, the power to change. Let me know when I have the power to change and not change. Okay, that once you have that knowledge, it really does help your life. It really does. And then Al-Anon's for people who love an alcoholic. I will still be drinking after the baby's born, for the record.
Right.
I was confused with that right there for a second.
It's that prayer, like Lord,
yeah,
help me to know the difference.
It's the serenity prayer.
It's the serenity prayer is what they're talking about in the first one. Let me know what I can change and what I can't. And once you know what you can't change, you have to accept it. And that helps you formulate your life and look what you're doing. A lot of things out of your control. Write down what gives you energy is number 2. Do you feel inspired watching TED Talks? Are you energized when you help others? Do you feel uplifted when your workplace is clean and organized? Make note of what gives you energy and makes you feel inspired and happy. I started doing YouTube Zumba last night. I felt great.
I saw that. How'd that go?
I did a whole 50-minute workout.
Wow.
I'm not coordinated in any way. I went for a hike yesterday. My old wobbly ass ankles. It was a whole thing. Number 3, I could not agree with this more. This was another one from Al-Anon. Eat ass. Sometimes licking a butthole can make you feel like $1 million. Don't believe me? I'll bend over and spread these cheeks. Tongue punch the bulkhead, sir. And it's true. It's doing something. It's like taking a hot shower in the morning and then the last 2 minutes switching it to cold.
Yeah.
Gets your brain out of the usual. If you switch from the front to the back, your brain's like, whoa.
I love picturing Chaps writing these out.
Yeah, I know.
Just like,
I was giggling so much. Tongue punch the bulkhead, sir. Come on, put that on a t-shirt.
Print them out.
You're ridiculous.
All right, the 4th one. Ask yourself who inspires you. Who in your life lifts you up? Are there people in your network who are consistently cheerful, motivating, or positive? Are there online influencers who post messages that you're always saving and referring to later? Do you reference literary figures or heroes from books who inspire you to persevere?
I gotta tell you, I watched Into the Wild this weekend. Remember
what a great flick and book.
About Jonathan or McCandless?
John Krakauer is the author, but was
McCandless, the guy who goes he's a college student who graduates and he reads all his literary figures and authors for his heroes and like Into the Wild and Jack London and all that shit. And so he goes off into the boonies. And then as he's on the bus in the middle of Alaska, because he thinks being alone in nature is what he gathers from the books is like what life is all about. He reads this line about like, no, the meaning of life is to share joy with others. And that's when he's like, oh my God, I got to get back to the people I love and figure it out. But he's eating the weeds and he's dying on the bus and I'm sitting on my couch.
They had to move that bus, didn't they? Because so many people wanted to go see it.
People were dying getting to the bus kind of thing. But it's like he was a literary. And so I'm sitting alone on my couch watching him die alone on his bus. And I'm like, So great advice.
I don't know if you've ever seen, they say ultimately he was a dummy. He could have, if he just had like a map or something, I forget the specifics of it. Long story short, he could have gotten back if he had known just a few simple things. So he really ultimately, was his own demise, but he could have gotten around that river somehow.
I think that's what military.com want us to take from that concept.
Definitely. Definitely. They want you to do that. And number 5, celebrate every positive milestone. Did you send a resume and get a positive response? Celebrate. Did you reach out to 3 contacts on LinkedIn with a well-written note and scheduled 2 phone meetings? Cheers. Were you able to look at a camera during the entire Zoom job interview without getting distracted? Yay for you. When stressed or uncertain, celebrate the milestones that confirm your actions that are moving forward. I kind of disagree with this one. That's a little like, stop sucking your dick for sending 2 messages on LinkedIn.
I mean, like, that's a very liberal use of the word milestone.
Yeah, that's a low bar.
I'm going to say
you sent 2 emails. That's
like,
a milestone.
This is good for when Owen Wilson loses out on Rachel McAdams at first in Wedding Crashers, where he's just depressed as shit, sitting in his office reading "Don't Kill Myself" books.
Well, that's what I was about to say. As I feel like I sound like a nut on the show today because I am. But I feel like maybe a depressed person wrote this because when I'm in the low of it and I like.
Did you write these, Kate?
And I
moonlighting at military.com. And
I finally get my mail. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. You went and got your mail. You did when I brush my teeth. I'm like,
You actually made it to the kitchen to grab the bag of chocolate chip cookies that you
yeah,
or
good
chocolate
job,
chips.
bitch. That's right. I put a napkin tucked into my shirt so the crumbs from the chocolate chips didn't melt into the lazy boy. Congrats to me.
And the Zoom one, if don't do that because you look like a psychopath.
Yeah.
If you just stare into the camera the entire time and don't break eyes with the camera, you look like a fucking wacko.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a power move if I ever seen one.
Imagine just an entire hour-long Zoom and you don't blink and you just stare at that
You
camera.
don't look away at all?
Yeah, I would think you're a little off.
All right.
Number
Number
six,
six cons.
No,
Yes.
thank you. No, thank you.
It's quite honestly, I'd say it's the best move of them all.
All right, Kate, go ahead.
I'm doggy style. I believe that doggy style is always in style. Oreo says the key to making it less basic, incorporate some back play. People don't realize how hypersensitive they are on their back. So next time you're doing it doggy style, have a partner glide a feather along your back during penetration, guaranteed to hype up sensation. As a bonus, easy hair access. Grab the reins. You know what I mean? Grab the hair and go to town. So I think that's.
No, please read the quote because I know Chaps is especially proud of himself for this quote. Please read the quote.
Oreo suggests if you're looking for pressure but not pain, grab from the root. And if you're looking for a bit more pain and that pleasure, grab from the end. And we all know what the roots and the ends are down there. I mean, there's a lot of bells and whistles, but we know at this point. So it says, and do it. Get on all fours. Have your partner kneel behind you with their upper body straight or slightly draped over you like a humping dog. You literally fuck like a dog. That's
So
Chaps, would you say you're 13 or 14?
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to live. There's no good news in the world. So I'm just trying to talk about some eating ass and doing it doggy style. There's just the whole gamut is shitty. I searched last night for like 2 hours looking for topics. There's nothing good. Everything is bad. That's the reason why Kate's right. We absolutely have to celebrate just getting out of bed.
just getting out. That's last week's episode did really well online. And I was kicking myself because it was like we had that first important round. And then I was like, I guess we'll do facts about buttholes because I'm panicking.
Yeah, we have all these new listeners to the pod. Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us on ZBT. And now they think what?
Right. And that's but Chaps, what else are we gonna do?
I mean, there's not a whole lot. I had to go between the butthole licking or do another round about Kim Jong-un saying they're going to build more nucler weapons. That's not good.
No, lick some ass. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
I consider myself an adventurous lady. I have no desire to put my mouth on a butthole.
Okay.
So I'll really have to read these again and really, really yank the root. Get into it because I don't know.
You know what? Anytime you say something like that now going forward, you can just also preface it with, well, listen, I'm somebody's mother, so I cannot be acting like that.
Oh, please. There's a lot of freaky deaky moms out there. Okay. But I will say, who's the porn star I talked to the other day?
Brandy Love.
Brandy Love. She's got kids. She's eating ass. But I just don't get it because there's like nothing on your butthole is going to make you come. I'm just saying.
Clip that for a drop.
So what are we doing back there?
I don't know if that's completely accurate. I think that to each their own. Each spoke is designed a little bit different.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like each one is like a lock. Maybe you go left, right, left sometimes and you'll get a different result instead of going right, left, right.
I can see how it adds to the razzle dazzle if you're doing like a rusty trombone kind of thing and you're doing other stuff. But I feel like
I think the only time for that is super clean.
Yeah. You know who I always thought would be great in bed?
Who?
You know those guys you see in the city in a tourist area who like can play 7 different instruments at once?
Oh yeah. So basically like what's his name? Dick something.
Dick Van Dyke?
Dick Van Dyke, yeah.
Yeah.
It's another holiday with Mary.
You're playing the drums, the harmonica, the flute at the same
Mary
time.
makes the day go by.
You know where the clitoris is and what to do.
Yeah.
It's like we're on a road trip and we just threw those MapQuest directions right out the window, and I have no idea how we got
When
here.
Mary hold your hand,
after
it'll be
talking
so
about all the new
grand.
listeners. Like,
Yeah.
hey, if,
Yeah.
you know, all those new, well, if you're still listening, not shit's changed. Still the same.
And if you can play 3 instruments at once, you can fuck.
That's exactly right. And number 7, keep communicating. If you're tempted to retreat when things get stressful or feeling anxious, now more than ever, you need to connect with others and communicate. Likely the person you're reaching out to is feeling similar emotions and can also use a check-in. Great advice by the military times, folks. Always keeping us motivated. All right, let's move on to round number 3, which today is going to be brought to you by our friends at Trifecta Nutrition. I've been working out. I've been sticking with it. I've been doing good of going out to my garage, lifting some weights, doing a little bit of boxing back and forth. And the meals have been easy because Trifecta sent a bunch of meals to my house. They have meals that don't suck. You just put them into the refrigerator. If you want to heat them up in the stove, you can. You can heat them in an air fryer that Kate has now. They'll actually heat up pretty quickly in the air fryer and have a little bit of crisp to them. They are all over the place with great stuff. And very varied. A lot of times these kind of companies, they always have the same shit, like a lot of kale stuff. This is not like that. This one has like burrito bowls. It's very wide in what they offer, which is awesome. There's no wasted time cooking or cleaning. Just eat it, throw it away, and you're done right there. Now you can get it for 40% off meal prep with the code 0. Go to trifectanutrition.com/0 for this exclusive offer. It is awesome. You're going to love it. I promise. I really enjoy it. My like free one that they sent me is over, and I ordered another week just for myself, which will be nice. I mean, because really, whenever it's lunchtime and you work from home, how many sandwiches can you fucking eat?
Honestly, I could eat a sandwich every day of my life and be overjoyed.
I would have preferred you agreed with me there for
the ads.
for
I knew he
Trifecta.
wasn't going to be able to. I knew.
Yeah. Trifectanutrition.com/0 for everybody else but Cons. Cons, when you order it, you got to pay full price.
Yes.
That's just the way that it's going to go. You're not allowed to. So Trifecta Nutrition, if you see Cons email in there, just kick it back. Just say that there's a discrepancy on there. Let's move on to round number 3. This one's a little bit Donald Trump specific. Here we go. Kate,
Yes,
what do we
it
got?
is. All right. So President Donald Trump said Friday he will. And this reminds me, did you growing up ever get invited to a birthday party or not invited to a birthday? And you're like, well, I wouldn't go anyway. I'm not going.
Yeah. That was like the
So-
story of my life. I was always the new kid because my dad was in the Navy.
Yeah. So this has like vibes. This has strong kid vibes to it, but
Mhm.
what a potato. President Donald Trump said Friday he will not attend President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration on January 20th, undercutting his message a day earlier that he would work to ensure a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power to his successor. Trump offered no clues for how he would spend his final hours in office and will be the first incumbent president since Andrew Johnson to skip his successor's swearing in. Look at me not knowing we had a president named Andrew Johnson. I'm definitely the person you want to come to for your political news. Traditionally, the incoming and outgoing presidents ride to the U.S. Capitol together for the ceremony as a symbol of the nation's peaceful transition. And usually it is a bicycle built for 2. And there is a symbolic trading of, so Trump would be on the front of the bicycle, Biden would be on the back. They ride over to the platform and then they change. They do a couple.
And it's
Then
really cool
friends-
because the vice president is actually responsible while he has the president on the front handlebars. Like he's responsible for laughing like Pee Wee Herman. Like imagine Mike
Right.
Pence with his head back. Like,
Yeah,
going
and they're
back.
hitting a horn. They're doing all sorts of fun stuff. There's streamers
yeah.
on the bike. That's not going to happen this year, which is
Mm-mm.
really sad. Kids love it.
Disappointing.
Trump offered no clue. Oh, nope. I already read that part. Haha. To all those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th, Trump tweeted. The move had been widely expected as Trump for months falsely claimed victory in the election and promulgated basic claims of voter fraud. His own, I now can't make fun of you for reading rough in the last round.
Well, when you run across words like it, you know how to say it a million times, and then you're just like, I can't speak.
Yeah. Well, anyway, his own administration said the election had been fairly run. VP Mike Pence is still expected to attend. So this is
And I said that this round is basically because the president's acting like a salt dog Lance Corporal. And let me explain why. I love the fact that he's not going to the chain of command. If you had the ability to not go to a chain of command, you 10,000% do it. And really, when you're at the top of the food chain, rank has its privileges. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. Who's going to tell him he has to? Nobody.
Good point.
Well, so maybe a Lance Corporal would be told he had to go, but you're saying one who's getting out of the military, who's dropped his
like
pack.
one's getting ready to get out. He's doing all kinds of things. Like one, skipping the chain of command. He's not going to be involved with his company gunny or anything like that anymore because he just doesn't care. He's dropped his pack.
Dropped his pack.
He has dropped his pack and he's just going golfing. Like that's where you see him out. He's like out on his golf course all the time, just hanging out. He's skipping out on the things that he needs to do at the end. He's using up all his leave. Like there's been many times over the last couple of weeks that it says he has no official events listed on his calendar. I don't blame him there. Like you got to use up all your leave. He's checking out a medical, getting his last minute shots. So he's cleared hot from medical to go. He got his COVID vaccine recently. He's leaving his responsibilities unchecked because there's no real consequences. And he's removing his name from the duty log by saying he's not going to do anything else.
The main bummer for Trump here is that he doesn't have free reign like a Lance Corporal. Like when I was checking out, I did a whole lot of putting my car seat way back so you couldn't see who I was and sleeping with a hat on my face in different parking lots. He doesn't have the luxury of doing that. Instead of saying, I got to go do these appointments to check out, I'll be back. And then coming back like 5 hours later being like, that took forever. I was sleeping in my Hyundai Sonata. You know?
And the thing is, like, you think that you were so sneaky, and in reality, the people who are in charge don't care at all.
They just don't care about you. They have bigger fish to fry. I'll also say I don't blame him in that if you've ever had to sit through a fucking college graduation I've never been to an inauguration. I'm sure it's cool for America, whatever. You've been to one or two. I bet that you're like, oh, fuck, I got to go stand in the cold again at this fucking thing. It's like one of those obligatory, like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part is just the elements of it, the weather element. So if it's
you think they would change it to like March where it'll be a little bit, odds are to be a little bit nicer, April, where you can have some good weather, January in DC. They got to switch that up.
Only thing that would get him motivated, you got to get a really fun coat. That you're excited for people to see you in.
I want one of the presidents just to be an absolute wild card because you got Jimmy. So this one you'll have Jimmy, Bill, George.
Jimmy said he's not going.
Oh, Jimmy's not going?
That's for health reasons. I love how we're going with Jimmy too, by the way.
Yes, you'll have Jimmy alive. George will be there. Bill will be there. And then Mike Pence. I need to talk about Mike Pence. Mike Pence is that guy who is by the book. What rank do you think Mike Pence would be good at in the military?
Say major.
I was gonna say major.
I was gonna say major too. And I think he would be like the XO, where he is the one that's going through all the different paperwork before it gets to the battalion commander, and everything has to be perfect. It's sent back. It has to be in the proper format, and he's just going. That would stink, man, because, he doesn't want to be at that shit either. He doesn't want to be. I think Mike Pence is fed up with it.
Yeah, at this point, for sure. You know what? I was just going to say quickly, the thing that gets me about the way Trump is acting, one of the greatest gigs going, it's on the pantheon of greatest things to be in life, is a former president. You get a paycheck the rest of your life. You get $1 million travel stipend every year. You get Secret Service the rest of your life. It's one of the greatest things you could be as a former president because you get all the accolades with none of the responsibility anymore. You go on book tours. You go on speaking engagements.
It's like once you were on Road Rules or Real World. You get to go to your tour in college.
Listen. Shout out Student City. You're down in Cancun. You're enjoying spring break. You're reaping all the benefits.
Here comes the Miz.
Yeah,
but I think it's hard for them to have actual friends. Like, I imagine being friends with the president. I think they might have like 2 or 3 actual friends. I would think that you would feel a lot like Drake, where you constantly have no new friends because you can't really form a new relationship when you're the president.
But I feel like
these guys they're not exactly 20 years old. Like, I'm sure they have friends they've kept throughout their life from growing up or college or some aspect of their life. They've made legitimate friends and not people who just had aspirations for their own personal gain.
They've got friends on their level who are in the same boat, so they get it. I feel
Mike
like
Boehner and George W.
Absolutely.
They definitely have friends.
I don't know, man. I
But
think I would just
anyway.
get so tired of people calling me Mr. President all the time when they first met. I'd rather somebody come up and be like, "Hey, bitch, you got a little dick." Like I would like that if I was the president. I want somebody to just shoot me straight.
All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think obviously Trump has all but eroded any chance of him ever getting to hang out with those guys and go to the President's Cup and just be revered in any way. He's just completely eroded that all out of spite.
But imagine how cool you would look if you walked up, if you got caught on a hot mic and you and George W. are friends and you walked up to him and like, "What's up, you little dick bitch?" And it was on like a hot mic and people would be like, "Whoa." And W like laughs. He's like, "Oh, there goes Chaps again. My dick's actually huge."
If George W. goes up to Bill and like, "Oil check."
You want to see it, Chaps? Here it is.
The only other thing I'll say is it makes it awkward for Pence that Trump's not going. It's like when you go to a wedding and everybody's like, "Oh, where's your husband?" You know, and you're like, "Oh."
He's like that Southern mom that wants her Baptist husband to go with her to church, but she never will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sorry. Did you all see, well, we're recording this Monday morning. Did you see Melania's statement that she released?
No, but Melania's statements are always fantastic. She just acts like she doesn't know what's going on. And I love her statements. Her statements are always great.
So here's why I feel bad for her, because I feel like she's been caught up on a bad blind date and she's been trapped for ages now.
She's had choices for a long time.
Yeah, no, she absolutely has. But I think she got to a point where it's just like, all right, I'm in too deep at this point. She released a statement. There were just grammatical errors. I think there were some spelling errors.
PFT wrote it for her, I think.
Yeah, it was very clear. Nobody proofread it. And, English is her second language, I'm pretty sure. So, credit to her for being able to speak multiple languages. But I just feel bad for her because I don't know that anybody really dislikes Melania, do they?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm
sure there's a lot of folks.
Kind of hung out idly by.
I don't know. I don't think there's reasons to hate her on the level that people hate her husband. And I think she just got caught up in a bad marriage. And listen, I think you could go all over this country, all over this world.
I didn't expect today to be Cons as a Melania Trump apologist.
Listen, I think you could go all over this country and find people in marriages that they don't want to be in and just stay in for whatever reason.
Goes to show, if Cons has seen your titties, he's on your team. Classic. All right, let's move on to round number 4, which is about another unhappy marriage. This time it comes from former Air Force Major General Peter Gersten, right, Kate?
More like Peter Girthston, apparently. More like
girth there as a synonym for thickness of the cock.
More like Major Peters.
Peter. I love we're really hammering home the idea that we're trying to keep any new listeners that we've brought in.
Well, this Major General's hammering, that's for sure. Former Air Force Major General Peter Gersten has been busted and bussed in.
Yeah.
Down to colonel after an investigation determined he had an affair with a subordinate, an Air Force spokeswoman, confirmed. Gersten received an Article 15, the highest form of NJP, and retired on the 1st of January. Investigators also found that he had inappropriate relationships with 2 other women between 2010 and 2019. He was
biggest thing about getting busted down from 2-star to Big Bird. You no longer get that preferential treatment at whenever you're parking at the military hospital. You got to find a regular old parking spot like anybody else. General parking.
I thought you were going to say at the Golden Corral, but
Well, both. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Both. I swear to God, same thing. In June 2019, he was fired as head of Air Force Warfare Center at Nellis Air Force Base over an alleged inappropriate relationship. He separated from his wife in May 2017, and the 2 divorced in December of 2018. Investigators determined he then began a sexual relationship with before they got divorced, he began a sexual relationship with another woman while he was still married, which constitutes adultery under the UCMJ. I love telling people, who weren't in the military, like, did you know you can get in trouble with our laws for having an affair? Like, that doesn't happen to civilians. You can't
And the way that this reads, he got separated in May of 2017. He didn't begin this relationship until 2018. So he was legally separated. If that's the case, on its face, and he was only busted down for the adultery, I would think that that is beyond wrong to do that to somebody.
Yeah, I would agree, honestly. So the woman not identified told investigators they began their affair in July 2018 when the two had sex in the distinguished visitor quarters.
Oh, spicy.
What are the distinguished visitor quarters?
I think that's like where they bring, if you say you're a secretary or you are a high level VP that's coming to the base, that's where they take you because it's like super nice. There's actually one in Okinawa. And in Okinawa, they had one, I believe he was like a sergeant or some shit that was in charge of the distinguished visitors quarters. And every time that they went there, it had to be field dayed like to the millionth degree. Like he was telling us about it because the dogs would have to go and sweep. Like if a secretary of like defense or the VP came one time too, and we would always have to do dog sweeps for bombs and stuff before they would go in. He would say that they had to make sure that every line of the carpet where you could not tell even a vacuum was in there, where the carpet was just all stood up one solid color. It was dark blue all the way across, and there was a Marine Corps emblem in the front, and everything had to be like perfect every time. And if somebody walked on it, they had to do it again.
Well, I pity the fool that had to clean up after Gersten was in there every time, because eventually word got out that Gersten and the woman were texting each other lurid images and messages.
Why is his rag so stiff?
Yeah, undermining his ability to lead, Air Force Times reported. In March of 2019, the woman's house was egged, and an unknown person left a message on Gersten's vehicle that warned, "We know." So
that's the ex-wife. Like an unknown person.
Who could it have been?
Yeah, it was Kathy Gersten.
It does make me feel better that like this to me is like classic Lance Corporal relationship type drama. Any level.
We're all the same.
We're all
President
the same.
Trump's doing it. This guy's doing it.
We're not that different. Investigators determined that the two had prior affairs while married, including a relationship with one woman who reportedly would call Gersten after marriage counseling sessions with her now former husband. So she would get us.
Wonder why those counselings didn't take.
They didn't pan out too well.
Yeah, that's crazy. Gersten provided a brief statement to Task and Purpose that didn't directly address the investigation's findings. I'd like to thank the American people and the Air Force leadership for the opportunity to deploy, fight for, and defend this nation over 32 years. It's been an honor to serve and sacrifice some of the most dedicated, amazing men and women this country has to offer. God bless. And don't forget that eating ass is one of military.com's top things to center your mind.
That is what he said, which is, I think it's true. It's nice that he's going out and still doing a little bit of mentoring on the way. But overall, I think they should get rid of the adultery being like downable.
Why?
Because I don't know how much shit, like in this case, they're already separated. You got to find out what rank the subordinate was. Like if it was somebody, even if it's like a colonel or if it's somebody else that's really high ranking, I don't have a problem with that. But I just think the idea of continuously busting people down for adultery is like an archaic thing to do.
And I think the military's idea of part of it's supposed to like be what's the word you're looking for? Security kind of thing where
it's like where you can't get blackmailed by somebody for releasing this information.
But I feel like those laws make it easier to get blackmailed for those situations.
Right.
Like I feel like that actually makes it a lot worse.
Because if you are cheating and somebody brings it up to the command, they're like, and you're like, yeah, dude, so what?
Right, exactly.
If you can't get busted down for it, then you're no harm, no foul.
I feel like it makes it worse. I do think in terms of like rank and fraternization, there's where things get a little, if they're in your unit, but if it's not affecting your fucking job, part of me is
but that's a very slippery slope. To say that your personal life won't affect your professional life, that's a pie in the sky type.
No, I don't think that's what she's saying, like where it won't affect it. I don't think that necessarily it's worth getting demoted. I mean, getting demoted from a 2-star down to a colonel is a huge demotion. I mean, you're talking over the course of his retirement life, millions of dollars, realistically.
Say I'm like a shit hot major who's incredible at my job, but maybe I'm banging. There's a local guy at the bowling alley who just really does it for me, and I'm cheating on my spouse with the bowling alley guy. Like,
so here's what I'll say.
Demoted for that? Who gives
so
a
here's
fuck?
what no. So here's what I'll say. Especially as you go up the chain to colonel and major general. If your judgment is so impaired that you're willing to do that, what else are you willing to do when you're in a professional capacity?
Do you know how wacky a lot of these higher up leaders are in their personal
Like
lives?
General Flynn, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
wackadoodle, dude.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, you're right. But I'm just saying, there is a correlation that if you can, compromise your judgment for one thing, who's to say you can't compromise it for another?
Anyway, shout out to Kenny at Playhouse Lanes. Sup?
Yeah. And I know I like to talk about a few good men. I think Colonel Jessup said it best. Like, whenever you are a 2-star, when you're a 2-star, how many people on base can you realistically be in a relationship with that you don't affect their day to day? And there's nothing like a blowjob from a superior officer. His problem is that he's a 2-star. So I guess he'll have to keep taking cold showers in the morning, Lieutenant Caffey. With your pretty little mouth. All right, let's move on.
I can't say it, but he says you're something white uniform. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. I had to self-edit there for the old quote. Let's move on to round number 5. This one a little bit different because police have arrested 2 men for allegedly desecrating the graves of several deceased veterans in a Florida cemetery and stealing their remains for religious trials. Let me ask you guys, just to not take the veteranness out of this. Do you think grave robbing is wrong?
I didn't think we were going to be posed such a difficult question today. I would have come a little more prepared.
Seriously.
Oh boy, I don't want the listeners to turn on us if we say the wrong answer.
Because I kind of don't, honestly.
Chaps.
I'm sorry, sir.
Chaps.
What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I mean, okay, let's say I think it's different if one of your family members is dead and you go and you find that their grave has been sullied, I guess. Like, that's different. But if you can somehow get into the old coffin, get into the sarcophagi, and you can take a couple things and you put everything back the way that it was supposed to be, who knows? Like, why is that so bad?
Chaps, that's horrible.
I would want to murder somebody who fucked with my grandparents' graves.
But if you never knew, I think you got to.
Well, then that's the whole point of the story.
Airbnb rules. You got to put everything back the way that you got it, and then you're fine.
No. I'm squirting you with a spray bottle of water and hitting you in the nose.
If you were going to rob from somebody's grave, whose grave would you rob from?
I'm not going to answer that because I would never even consider this.
I feel like Liberace popped in my mind right away.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely wearing some bling.
Yep. A lot of bling. But I don't condone it. But if I had to.
Now that you have it in your head, do you want to?
Kind of. Yeah. I go, all right, you got me.
Yeah, it would be such an adventure. It would be such an adventure.
Okay.
If you just had the whole squad and you were like, let's go rob a grave.
There's so many other things we could rob that would not be this terrible.
Yeah, but this doesn't affect anyone. Like,
yes,
if you
in fact, it very much does. It very much does.
If you put everything back, nobody ever knows.
No.
If you rob from a bodega or a bank or something like that, then yes, eventually somebody's going to come up money short. This is a victimless crime.
Oh my God.
It is 100% the definition of a crime that has victims.
I would have psychological. It would psychologically.
You're not listening. If I put back all the dirt and you can never tell, what difference does it make? This is the new way to view. If a tree falls in the wood and nobody here, it doesn't make it sound.
Then there's no
I would just
story.
like
a watch from a grave and everything goes back to normal. Did you steal it? No,
I would like it on
a new watch. Where'd you get it? I don't know.
Record that all of us are against grave robbery.
Right, we're against it. Except
not me. I love it. All right, let's keep going with the story.
I don't know that I want to.
Yeah. So these 2 fellas, Brian and Juan, they're accused of stealing some remains from 4 separate graves in Mount Dora, Florida cemetery on December 6th. One of them was arrested on Wednesday after Palm County Sheriff's Office detectives searched his Lake Wales home and uncovered, quote, a shed with a religious shrine containing 7 skulls.
Do you still feel the same?
You shouldn't be laughing about this.
4 of which, no, this isn't grave robbing.
Just keep reading the story. Keep reading the story. I can't.
Skull goofing. Something very different. They had 4 of which Burgos, Lopez, and the 2 fellas, Brian and Juan, admitted to removing from the Mount Dora graves. It said, quote, the shed shrine contained cauldrons filled with dirt and other items such as bones, sticks, feathers, frogs, turtle shells, and small animal skulls, along with human skulls.
I want to murder chaps right now, and then I hope somebody steals his grave. The suspects told law enforcement that they had used human remains as part of their practice of Palomaobi, a West African-derived religion.
Brick by brick, Palomaobi.
Longtime stoolies of Palomaobi. A West African-derived religion that specifically involves the use of human skeletal remains placed within ritual cauldrons. So they're out there, not great.
Listen,
I
to
wonder if
each
they
their
told
own.
the veterans.
Just stop.
I'm sorry.
To each their own. I don't know. Maybe go get a skull from like a Halloween store or something. It'll probably be the same effect.
Well, you can buy human skulls online.
What?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you can
human
buy
skin
anything.
purse.
You can buy a lot of weird shit online. Just be better at using the dark web.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
You know?
Sorry, guys. I just think it's not as bad as they're making it out to seem.
You're living in a la la land where like, but nobody knows. This people know. So the families of these people know. Wouldn't you be furious?
Okay, well, maybe you have a little bit of like surveillance that you're running.
I can't with you right now.
Let's say you run the little surveillance on your favorite cemetery and you do a time-lapse camera for 18 months. If nobody's come to that grave for 18 months and you could prove it, it's fair game. You could see what's going on in it.
You're saying if people aren't visiting it enough. All right, no. He keeps swinging me back, guys. He keeps swinging me back.
I mean, honest, if we got an ad deal to do grave robbing.
Right. You'd sell a lot of grave robins. You're good.
Yeah.
What is this episode, dude? I don't know.
Well, there's veterans involved in this.
Which makes it.
The sticks and the feathers is what made me laugh.
Okay.
That's the reason why. I don't know if I'd have included it if it wasn't. They had.
No. I'm not saying why
feathers.
did you include this story. I'm just saying this went off the rails. This whole.
It did.
But you know what? So America's off the rails. We're a crazy train. Okay, we're all on the train. We're snug, but it's a crazy train.
And now all we have to do is step number 3, which, if you remember, is
eat ass.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Let's move on to save rounds, alibis. We'll start with you, Kyle. What do you got?
God damn.
Kyle has looked so defeated this whole show. Kyle just.
It's been a great episode. We're nailing it. So if anyone's still listening, thank you. Not much really. If I guess like my brain's still on the computer stuff, and there's a lot of different ways you can protect yourself on the internet, like using a VPN. Yeah, VPN. And if you want to add another layer, you can access the internet through the Tor browser. And if you want even more on top of that, you can use services like Proton Mail. That's an encrypted email service.
We should have actually Friday. Let's do protect ourselves secret squirrel where we can become where we can do like dark web stuff, like find out where the best graves to rob are.
Let's try and buy a skull. Let's try and buy a skull.
Yeah. What about if we do that same TikTok thread where the woman is trying to trade a bobby pin to get a house? What if we trade a bobby pin and try to get a human skull?
Okay.
Is this going to be our last episode? I feel like if anything's going to cancel us, it's going to be stealing bodies. Like that might just be it. Like, I mean, that's
fair.
Yeah. I mean, we had a good run though.
Cybersecurity
right?
episode on Friday.
But not veterans.
Yeah, no, I'm all about the cybersecurity. That sounds like fun. And nope. That's just for the record, I am also against grave robbing. I feel like I have to say that because I didn't get an opportunity to. So
there's 3 cowards and me on this show.
Yeah, that's the word, cowards. Yeah. So
right, Kate, what about you?
I finally, this is a gross thing to admit, maybe a weird thing to admit.
Poop.
For the last like couple years, I've been sleeping on what used to be my brother's growing up old double bed. Because I've had small apartments and my family was like, here, take this double bed. Because I went from Peggy's basement to then up to New York. And it was like, so I've been on this like 20-year-old
Now, this is your brother's bed from his teenage
childhood. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. But it's at the point now where like I could feel every spring, every like, it's like a 20-year-old fucking mattress double
I'm
bed.
glad that you're deciding to do this nearing your 7th month of pregnancy.
Yeah. And I've been miserable. My hips are killing me and my legs, and I can't sleep at night, and it's been awful. And so I finally ordered a king bed.
Oh, you went all the way to king.
Went all the way to king, new mattress stand, like everything. It's assembled. Holy shit. What if you are out there sleeping uncomfortable? Don't wait. Jesus H.
And there's so many really affordable mattresses that you can get now too.
Yeah,
like that aren't like super expensive.
Yeah, I would personally never get one online. I'm a like, you got to test it out type of guy. But number two, you think about it, you sleep on your bed every day of your life. So the fact that people skimp on that is beyond me. If there are things to skimp on, I would say a mattress is last on the list.
Oh my God. And I got the whole set, like the mattress protector and the pillows and the blah, 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 and the blah. On Saturday after it was assembled, it was like 5:30 p.m. I was twiddling my thumbs. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to go to bed. Like I couldn't wait to fucking go to bed. I couldn't wait to like be on a comfy mattress. Oh my God. It makes such a huge difference. What a treat. Who
we
knew?
got one, and it's like the difference between being when you're married for a long period of time. Like we had our same mattress for, I think, 8 years, the last one that we had. And the difference in weight between my wife and I is so evident looking at our mattress, because we, like most people that are in a relationship, we sleep on the same side. And by the time we were done with our mattress, my side was legit like 6 inches lower than her side. And you could just take it off the sheet and be like, oh, well, that's where Chap sleeps and that's where Italy sleeps, because there was a tiny little person mark and then a big old flat blob. Like all I ate was Cheetos and shit while I was in bed.
Yeah. I'll also say the bed set, it was all too much for me to bring up here by myself.
Oh, I bet it's heavy, yeah.
My dad and I we're very opposite ends of the spectrum politically. We got into like a beef Friday night. And then Saturday morning, I was like, so you still going to come help me put my stuff together? Like, are you still going to? So you can still have different beliefs and love your family and need them for things, which is a nice little lesson.
Good point. Glad you pointed that out, Kate.
Yeah. Also, I want to say your ligaments get stretchier in your final trimester. And it's not just your puss can push
Got that right.
baby out, but it happens to your whole body though. So like, even though those ligaments are stretching out, every ligament in your body is starting to get loosey goosey. Well, yesterday I decided to go on a little hike that was really rocky. Holy shit. I felt like I was twisting my ankles. I looked like a rubber band man, being like, whoa, like I've never been wobblier in my life, like unreal. So that was interesting. That's a stupid story. Also, I want to talk about it. I'm in the 3rd trimester now. I'm in month 7, 10 weeks to go. Maybe not even.
You've done a full pregnancy deployment already.
I've done a full deployment pretty much. And it's again just getting closer to ripping my taint. I haven't ordered a crib or done a registry or anything yet. Chaps sent me a lovely stroller / car seat combo. And that was the first one that arrived. I was like, oh, I guess I should start thinking about getting stuff. That's like a thing I'll need. And so I gotta get on. If anybody
cribs, you don't do it new. That one's you gotta find like a Goodwill or something like that. There's no reason to buy like $150 crib. They're all the same.
I'm going to take the other end of that one now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you get it. And then imagine how fun it is to paint it. That's what we did. We went and got one that was like an older one and did like refinishing. So you're taking time thinking about the baby. Sorry, I'm sentimental and I don't want to just pick something off the rack at fucking IKEA.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But
Nothing
anyway,
wrong with just getting a brand new one.
final thing, I know this is so boring and nobody cares. I need to get a new car too.
So you guys are too good to rob grapes with me, but you won't refinish a fucking crib.
But I need to get a new car. I'm trying to figure out. I heard end of the month is the time to go. So at the end of this month, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try and pretend like I know what the fuck I'm doing and what I'm looking for, and that I'm not desperate.
Kate, you're in the perfect time. I've bought 2 cars since on quarantine. This is the perfect time. All you have to do is go on those different car websites, text them, be like in emails, find one that you like, because realistically, what are you going to find out on a test drive? Like if you're like me, I don't know shit about cars. As long as it drives well, I'm not going to know the difference like of anything that's going on. Tell them what your baseline is, go like below what they're asking and be like, I will pay this and not a penny more, and you're going to bring it to me. And
do it at
like,
the end
I'll
of the
have a
month.
check ready to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Do it at the end of the month. They're desperate for sales to get a bigger.
Not
Gotta
the
get their
actual
quota.
end of the month. The best day to go is the 28th or 29th.
Yeah.
Okay. 28th or 29th. I'm going to go. I'm going to drive a hard bargain, but I need something that this car would crumple like a tin can if I had a kid in it. I'll forget it.
You know it's lovely. No free ads, but you know it's lovely, and I think that you would really enjoy easy parking.
Hummer.
A Ford Flex.
Oh, sick flex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you have any idea? Because there's so many cars out there. Do you have any idea what you might be interested in?
Mid-size SUV. I like to be up high so I can look around going over bridges. It's a treat.
Yeah, that's a Ford Flex. I'll send you some links, Kate. They're lovely.
Anyway,
we rode in one in an Uber, and it was fantastic. I almost traded in my wife's Tahoe for one.
Hell yeah.
Even though it's like a third of the price.
I'm just in prep mode. I'm doing my ORM, operational risk management, to those who don't know.
Wow.
So I'm looking
Okay. There you go. You just earned your National Defense Medal. That was the most military shit you've said in a long time.
Yeah.
Or ever, really.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
National
what's going
Defense
on over
Katie.
here.
All right, cons.
This one's actually a little bit more beefy than a save round. I apologize. I should have just put it in the sheet. But
if it's eating ass, we already covered it.
Yeah,
pal.
we already covered that.
Yeah,
Same
sorry.
thing with doggy style.
the PGA strips President's Bedminster Golf Course of its 2022 championship following MAGA mob's Capitol attack, sparking Trump organization to call the move a, quote, breach of contract. The PGA of America has voted to strip its 2022 championship from Donald Trump's Bedminster course in New Jersey after the MAGA siege on the Capitol on Wednesday. The Trump organization, which owns or operates 17 golf courses around the world, hit out at the decision, calling it a breach of a binding contract. The organization added it was incredibly disappointed amid complained it had invested many millions of dollars into the 2022 PGA Championship and that the PGA had no right to terminate the agreement. PGA President Jim Richardson explained that the board voted to sever ties with the Trump National in Bedminster after the president was accused of inciting a deadly riot and siege of the Capitol as Congress was certifying the election victory of President-elect Joe Biden. So this is the first time really like a professional sports league has gone out against the president very publicly in most recent memory that I can think of. I don't know if there's any other incidents.
Well, a lot of those like golf is definitely not known for being like the most controversial sport.
Right.
So I think that they are probably doing it because they don't want the controversy associated. Like after that.
This is important here. We find ourselves in a political situation not of our making. Seth Waugh, the CEO of the PGA of America, we're fiduciaries for our members, for the game, for our mission, and for our brand. And how do we best protect that? Our feeling was, given the tragic events on Wednesday, that we could no longer hold it at Bedminster. The damage could have been irreparable. The only real course of action was to leave. So I get it. The stink of it, though, Bedminster's like 25 minutes down the road from me. So I was looking forward to going to that. Because anytime you can go to a professional golf event, it's a lot of fun. But I get it. I understand why they did what they did, and just interesting to watch the fallout from this. So there's that. And then Craig, congratulations to the Riley family of Army hockey. The Riley, the father, Jack Riley, and his 2 sons have combined to coach Army hockey to 1,000 career victories. So that's pretty cool. Jack Riley's claim to fame, 1960 U.S. hockey team victory in the Olympics. Ooh. The original Miracle on Ice. So that's pretty cool, I thought. Yeah. So congrats to that family. Awesome. And that's it. Mine
is that I love where everybody's calling for everybody to resign. I think it's hilarious. Like where you really think that that's going to work, where you have your AOCs, your Ted Cruzes out there. They're like, everybody needs to resign. Nobody's resigning. Nobody's going to listen to your calls to resign. They're just not going to do it. You'd have to kick me out, kicking and screaming. No way I would give that up.
Speaking of, the New York Bar Association just voted to remove Rudy Giuliani from its membership.
Oh, yikes.
So
that's oh man, I know one individual who was removed from the bar. You think about this: you go to law school, you take the bar exam, you practice law for however many years, and then they're just like, yeah, all that's worthless now. You can't practice in New York ever again. That's
I mean, of all the things that if you watch Rudy do some actual litigating recently, I don't know if anybody was going to be reaching out and hire him anyway.
Probably not.
Actually, it was the purple hands. It wasn't that he said, let's have trial by combat. It was the purple.
Could you imagine, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, and I think we can make the promise to the listener, most likely, unless something insane happens, we're going to have a no politics episode on Friday. So whenever this one, Sidney Powell, one of the other attorneys that was involved in all the different court cases about election fraud, imagine waking up and seeing that you've been named in a $1.3 billion lawsuit where a company's coming after you for $1.3 billion.
So something similar happened to me this morning. I woke up and there's an app called Splitwise where you can put in expenses and what have you between you and a group, or in this case, me and Alex. And there was something new in there that was larger than what we normally put in there because we're going somewhere. And I was like, what the heck? And it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. So I get it. 1.3 billion. That's a lot. That would hurt if you woke up to find you were named in that lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
I understand completely what that
I'm
feels
confused.
like.
You know what? I feel like,
Did you get more money? Did you get more money? I'm lost.
No. So she put an expense into the Splitwise that I wasn't expecting to see. So then I owed her money that I was unaware of.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Got it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But these people everyone's like, oh, they're all losing their jobs or whatever. They always land on their feet. They have their people, their crowd, or whatever. People are they'll find their way to
Just write a book.
write a book.
In the words of old Sam Seaburn, when he fired those two aides that were making fun of Ainsley Hayes, it's time to write your book now.
Write your book, rob a grave or two.
Actually, I think that was Oliver Babish that said that. My apologies to the listener for messing up our wrongly attributing a Western quote. I apologize for that. I'll be better on Friday. So will we. Sound the retreat.